Well, I know it's a hot eBay item because I've been getting messages from other people who aren't resellers asking me if I have them and if I'm selling them. I'm like, really? Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the Commonwealth Cabin. Thanks for joining us tonight. Today's been a crazy day for me. It's been a crazy day for my family for a bunch of reasons I won't bore you with. Let's just say that the floor upstairs is having to be redone. And so we've spent most of the day away from the house or down here. We did homeschool in here. I still even got some homeschool stuff over here. Turner's reading and math and whatever. It's been a crazy day, but we've stayed, we had some fun. We were able to do some stuff. I've actually got the Homeschool Hustler sale out of the way already on the video. You'll see it later. I've got Reagan's sales from CommonwealthPicker.com out of the way. You'll see that towards the end of the video as well. Blue Ridge Mama, I don't think she woke up on the right side of the bed today, though. I think getting up so early to get those people in here to get that floor done, I don't think she wanted to be on the video. But she was doing a lot of teaching over here and taking pictures. Because when she goes off with the kids, when she goes off to gymnastics, she has her pictures on her phone and she can sit there and list and watch them and talk and do whatever. So that's the way I like to do it too. But we also were able to go to the antique booths today, and we were able to find a couple things in the antique booth. So our antique booths, if you're new to the show, we have 3 antique booths. Probably soon to be 2 is my guess, just to make our lives a little bit easier. But we have 3 antique booths, and we go and we fill that stuff up every once in a while. We haven't been doing as much as we should. And then sometimes when we're in there, we do a little shopping. And believe it or not, sometimes we make more money finding items than we do actually selling items in the booth. We've had some pretty good days lately. We've probably made, in the last year, over $1,000 in profit just picking items in there from time to time and selling them. So at any rate, we were able to do that today as well. And Blue Ridge Mama found something really nice. It's a bolo item. It's an item that has been selling well for a while. It's an item that if you have it, you should sell it now, because down the road, you probably aren't going to get quite as much for it, although it'll probably always sell. It's kind of nostalgic. And then there's another, I found one too, but it's not quite as good as hers, I hate to say. And then there's another item you've probably heard about a lot lately. I'm probably the last reseller on YouTube to talk about it, maybe. But that's okay. I like to, I think about things a little bit differently when I hear things. I've been getting messages from people. I know it's a hot eBay item because I've been getting messages from other people who aren't resellers asking me if I have them and if I'm selling them. I'm like, really? So it's something that's been in the news, and you'll probably have heard about it already. And I'll talk about it with a different twist. Since I'm a history teacher, we'll give a little historical context inside an eBay cave in just a minute and ask you if you have them or if you've been looking for them, if you've found any, if you're selling any, and what prices you're getting for this item, because it's been hot lately. But before we do that, let's take a look at what's sold. All right, 2 different sales here. This is from Rich, the auctioneer down there. We've been working our way down. There's a $400 buy, big buy, lots of stuff. And we're probably getting close to paying $300 of it down already. And we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. These 2 little items helped. 2 different sales, same item. I love multi-quantity items, which, I wish I could do tons of that stuff all the time. I don't know even what it is. 4-way stereo speaker selector. There you go. And it's 12.7 ounces. So it's going to go out first class, put it in a poly mailer, put it in probably a bubble mailer is my guess. Or wrap it in bubble and stick it in a poly mailer. These things are already pre-packaged. They're already pretty good shape. So I wouldn't just put it in a poly bag, but it's going to ship out for, under 16 ounces. So it's going to cost you $5.50 or so. $18 free ship. So let's figure $8. We're selling them for $18. We're already making about $9 profit on this, $10 profit on this item right here. It's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with it. And it's not really profit because we're whittling down, but that'll go towards that big chunk. So we're getting closer. 2 of those, by the way, so that's about $20 towards our $400 initial investment. Here's an item that used to not sell at all. It's the West Coast Chopper shirt. It's getting vintagey out there. My wife found it, and she bought it at Goodwill, so I'm not sure if she got it out of the dollar t-shirt bin. Sometimes she does that. And I can't quite figure out why they do that. Why do some shirts go in the dollar t-shirt bin and some t-shirts are up there and you got to pay $3.99? Either way, $20 plus shipping on this shirt right here, which is a pretty good deal. So say she paid $4, we're still going to make probably close to 13 bucks. All right, I'm not going to unpackage these here. I'm going to see if I can take a picture and show it. I usually don't do that because it takes a lot of time to edit that stuff in. And I got to go to work in the morning. It takes me a little... I know Lonnie does it and Matt does it. And whatever. It takes a little while to edit that stuff. I'd rather just show it to you real quick before I ship it. So here we go. This is Huck Finn and, you know, Tom Sawyer, Tom and Huck. It's, well, you're looking at the picture or you've already seen the picture. I didn't want to buy this stuff. This stuff's like 3 years old. It's been in this store a long, long time, and I'm so glad it's gone. It never made it out to the cabin. It's been in the cave. That'll tell you how long it's been out there. And I'm like, oh, we'll just get rid of this thing eventually. And I never put it on sale. It finally sold just under $15 plus shipping. I didn't want to buy this stuff because, I don't know, it just looked like a lot of research and cleaning and making sure it doesn't break. But this stuff was so cheap at a sale, I ended up buying a ton of it. And I'm glad I did. I ended up getting rid of like a third of it. Different porcelain doll heads and stuff. But I kind of cherry-picked the good stuff and made a ton of profit off of it. This was a borderline one, and I probably should have just donated it with the rest of the stuff. But, you know, hey, I'm glad I didn't. There's $12 I didn't have after fees and after shipping and everything, so I'll take it. One more Radio Shack item, $22 for the set of 2 phones right here. Not too bad. Figured it's about $18 towards our initial buy. And we're definitely into, we paid $400, so we're probably getting close to, with this one, maybe $315 of it. Won't be too long. One big sale. I think there's one item out there that might cover that, but I'm not quite sure. I know there's a battery in a minute we're going to grab that was okay, and we'll just keep chipping away at it. Eventually, you'll hear me say, and this is all pure profit, and that's what I like to do. Hey, we got a Homeschool Hustler store sale. Actually, we have 2 of them. What's this thing right here, bud?
Cars 2.
It's what is it?
Racer thing.
It's a World Grand Prix, so that means it's from Cars 2, which, by the way, Turner, you like that movie, but I thought it was terrible.
So you open these up.
Yeah.
And then
those come down, and then you hit these things and it launches them.
It's easier to put them down by like that.
Yeah.
And then you put all the cars in with. Yeah, then you put all the cars in, and you push these back, and shoot them out, and then they all go.
We should have put this on the Homeschool Hustler YouTube channel.
I don't know what these. I don't know what these do.
No.
No, but
Neither do I.
And then you can put all your cars in them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a storage thing. You put them in there and lock it.
$12.95 plus shipping. Came from Cars 2. There are some Cars 2 toys because that movie wasn't extremely successful that sell for pretty good money. This isn't necessarily one of them, but there are a few. So if you look up Cars 2, you can find a few bolos in there. Did you like Cars 2, Turner?
Yeah, it's my favorite one.
It's your favorite one. That is sad because it's the worst of all the Cars movies. For sure. Turner, you can like whatever you like, buddy. $12.95 plus shipping, and I think Blue Ridge Mama found that one. So that's not too bad, you know. Hey, you know, pay 99 cents, you end up making around $10 profit. What's behind you? What's all behind you? Oh. And this one went to a viewer. Let me look real quick while we're doing this. It's Charles. Let me read what he says. He says, been seeing this guy sitting on the shelf. He was sitting right there, I think. I thought we had 2 itty bitties. And what else did he say here? I figured I'd check what store it was in, and I'm glad I was able to support the Homeschool Hustler purchase. There's the other itty bitty right there. Blue Ridge Mama just pointed it out because she bought them. She paid 50 cents for that one, bud. 50 cents. So for 10 bucks. So there's around like a $4.75 profit on that one. What do you think? That's enough for you to do what?
Save $1, spend $1, and donate $1.
That's right. And today's payday, so you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See ya. Oh, wait a minute. You got to tell me who he is.
Oh, Mikey.
From what movie?
Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc. You got it. Mike Wojciechowski. And it's a little Beanie Baby. It's like competing with the Beanie Babies, I think, from Hallmark. So they have a little value. Not too bad. I like it. He must be Polish with that last name, huh? Wojciechowski. Do you know what Polish is? No? All right, bud. Thanks.
Bye.
We were down at both of our antique booths today, down on North Bridge Street in Bedford at Needful Things and at Bell Treasures. Just filling up the media booth and the other booths. And we haven't been in there in a while. And we found a couple things that we can resell on eBay, which is nice. It's kind of a plus to go in there. Sometimes we find things that we can resell that actually make more money than what we're making at the booths. So I found one thing, and Blue Ridge Mama found one thing. Let's take a look. I'd like to say I found the Flowbee, because it's going to sell for probably around 150 plus shipping. In good shape, doesn't even have to be cleaned. It's set on the tag, tested and working. Should make us around $100 profit. I think it was 35 bucks. And then this one was around 15, I think. And this one's tough. I think I'm going to list it for 50. There's one more that has a cheaper price out there that I think is going to have to clear out, but there's only 3 listed. One sold for 50 plus shipping. So I think it'll eventually sell for that price, or close to it, maybe 40, which I'm still okay with. So, you know, pay up a little bit when you're at these antique booths, but boy, you can make some money if you just pay attention as you walk through, for sure. Have just, I think, 3 more sales in here. Then we're going to run inside and check out a couple things in there, and then talk about that item that so many people wish they had and wish they had been sourcing it for the last, 5 or 6 months, because now it's really selling. Or a bunch of these type items are really selling. But let's take a look here real quick. I have a viewer sale. I'm going to have to give a thank you to this person really quick. And this is a record. It's a Waylon Jennings record. And I feel like I've listed it within the last week or so. It shouldn't be too deep in here. Alabama. I don't think. There it is right there. This is the second Waylon Jennings one we sold. And he's got some classic covers, by the way. And this isn't even one of his better ones. But I think he was a man before his time. Look at that. It looks like one of my thumbnails on Commonwealth Picker, I think, with the neon. I love it. What goes around comes around. Waylon Jennings. And this one went to a viewer. And it went to Emily Firestone. I used to go watch the Laker game. Firestone Boulevard down there. Used to go watch the Kings play back when they had Gretzky. Would travel in all the way in from the Inland Empire, go down in there. Remember, I took a girl on a date one time. My car broke down in Rosemead. I didn't read Vietnamese, so it was a little hard getting out of there, but we did. I don't know why I just told you that. Viewer sale, thanks for the great content. Question, weird question coming your way. Is a hot dog a sandwich? So I've heard this question before. I've heard this debate before, and I can't remember quite the context of it and how it goes and both sides of the argument. So I'm just going to give you a gut reaction right here, and then tell everybody else to put their opinion in the comments below. I'm going to go with, it's a hot dog. It's not a sandwich. If it was a sandwich, it wouldn't be called a hot dog. That's what I'm going to go with. So y'all can criticize me down there if you want. Either way, thank you, Emily, and thank you for the questions. The kind of thing I start my class off with sometimes. Just throw something kind of crazy out there just to get them awake and talking. So $8 plus shipping on that one. I've got one more to a viewer up here as well today. So 2 viewer sales. I really appreciate that. Let me get this out of here. My mom told me that our old friends up in Willow Creek, California used to have one of these, and they used to go and do some picnicking with it. I think this one I bought not too long ago, a little lunch pail thing, a little Tupperware. And this one, if I remember correctly, sold for $13 plus shipping. And I do these first class. They're pretty sturdy. And I just wrap it in a little bubble wrap and throw it in a poly bag. And I usually tell people that in the actual description. And I beat the competition, because you can definitely ship this thing first class and get away with it. Look at that right there. You put it in a box, it's getting close. You might be able to get a box if it's a real thin box. But it's a big difference sometimes. If you can give it to the buyer for, $3 less, you charge, say, $2 less, you pocket $1 on the buy side, and they get $2 off, and they're okay with it. It's going to show up, and it's going to be in great shape. You're not going to have any trouble with that thing at all. And I hope we have no trouble with it, because a viewer bought it. I'm a watcher and love your channel. You've inspired me to start selling again. My husband is retiring from the Army, and we're moving to Virginia. We're looking for a nice place to start a hobby farm within an hour of Charlottesville. Mention some other cities here, and you'll see why in a second. So they definitely have horses up there. That's horse country up there for sure. Lots of money up there. Mentioned a few other places, and this is why. I have young onset Parkinson's and need a specialty clinic. Do you have any recommendations as to where to start looking for a property? So, I mean, look, I don't mention this because it's about a former ball player and student, but I had a young man who played second base for me when I was coaching, We were headed to a game. We were doing some BP before we got on the bus. I used to drive the bus too. He had a heart attack. He had a heart attack right behind me while I was throwing batting practice, and it was traumatic, obviously, for everybody involved. And we had some great people save his life. But we thought he was gone, and we thought he was gone even as they took him away, and he ended up at UVA, and that's an amazing hospital up there, obviously, for Charlottesville. My kid, my child, has had surgery up there. My wife has had surgery up there. So, at any rate, I don't know what to tell you, because I don't know these other places. I'm sure they're amazing, but I can tell you that for sure. So, sorry to hear that, and I'm glad you are into reselling, and thank you so much for watching us. I appreciate it, and thank you for the purchase. Let me see what else it says. I was so excited to see the Tupperware lunchbox. I had it in the 70s. A new fan, Katrina. New fan. Thank you, Katrina. We really do appreciate it, and we'll be praying for you for sure. One more in here, and then we'll go into the eBay cave and talk about those items that are selling really hot. All right, it is. I know it's in this one, but I'm a little too short. I'm going to put it over here so I don't embarrass myself. And it's GB. There's a few different ones. 6LI, it's 2LI. That's the one right there. I think we have 7 of these. So this is going to go a long way in paying back all the money we've invested with Rich down there. And these sold, I can't remember what these sold for. Hold on a second. That was pretty good. $21.95 for that one. I hope we have a bunch of those. Some of them we were listing for like $9. But I'll take that one for sure. Definitely a quick, easy shipper. Reagan's got a couple of CommonwealthPicker.com sales. What do you got?
Gary got a blue Commonwealth Picker shirt, and Adam got a We Get Things Moving shirt.
That's right. And Adam is the Pittsburgh Picker on YouTube. He said he had to get one before they're gone, which I don't know that these are going to be gone yet, but the green ones will be soon for sure. And he said he's going to wear it on a What Sold video. All right, Reagan. Thank you.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
All right, this one here, I just dropped something. It's called Caution to the Wind Romper. I don't even know what a romper is. What's a romper? This apparently is a romper. I don't know. I don't know where my wife got it. I have no idea. Sold for $12.95 plus shipping. I'm assuming it's a Goodwill buy, but this doesn't seem like something she would buy at the Goodwill. Maybe, and I haven't seen her wear it. I don't think she would buy something to sell for $12.95 like this plus shipping. Who knows? Either way, we're making a little bit of money, and she bought it and she sold it, so I'll take it. I didn't have to do any work except for ship it, and this is easy. All right, this is a barrel loader for a super shooter. Speaking of items that are hot, the super shooter is still pretty hot. And usually what happens with the super shooter, and I've sold, I don't even know how many I've sold. I've sold a bunch. The market has never been as good as it's been in the last 6 months. Q4 of last year was insanely hot. I haven't looked at it in a little while, but I have a feeling the super shooter is still good. Whenever I find one that doesn't test out working, I'll part it out. And this is one of the least desirable parts. You just don't need it. It's not mechanical. It's like a protector for the little screw that goes through it. And so you don't really break these things. So people don't really need them, and they sit around because lots of parts people do need, and they don't want to waste things. So they're like, I'm not going to chuck this out. I'm going to part it too. And then there's a glut of inventory, and people drop their price. It happens. When you part things out, that kind of stuff happens. But it did sell. Sold for $7 and I think 61 cents. Free shipping, and it will go. We'll make a few bucks on it. So I'm glad I kept it, but I actually have another one in there, I think. So it took a year for this one to sell. Who knows how long it'll take for that one to sell. But this is traditionally an item, so COVID's changed things. If you like to part things out, the super shooter will work. Although lately, if you find a complete one working, you're way better off selling it together. Okay, my wife sent me a message today, and then I had 2 other folks who aren't eBay resellers send me a message. I saw a YouTuber talking about it, and then I had my uncle who is a reseller talking about it, asking me about it, and then I had an email about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a big topic for folks, even outside of our world, and that is Dr. Seuss. I just heard a cat. That is so ironic. Dr. Seuss, and I see a cat, and it's the bad cat. I know people don't like it when I say, all right, I'll be nice here for just a second. Whoa. Did you see her? Did you see her? She wants to get up there. and she wants to crawl up, and she crawls up here, and there's insulation. She gets up there and she goes above Bubba's closet. It's Bubba's room back there. Look, see, look, y'all, just be nice. They're trying. Look, just be sweet. Look, I'm being sweet to boots, y'all. See, she don't want to stay. Hold on. So appropriate when we're going to talk about Dr. Seuss. Have y'all been selling Dr. Seuss out there? Have you been looking at the Dr. Seuss prices, especially for those six banned books? I don't know if they're banned, but they're stopping printing. Whoever does the printing, the actual company is doing that. My wife sent me this thing today, and she says, check this one out. Dr. Seuss didn't write it, but he illustrated it. 1941, vintage Dr. Seuss, The Pocket Book of Boners, first printing edition. I mean, hundreds of dollars, $200-$300, and that's not even in the 6. Hold on a second, let me tell you the 6. All right, let me see if I can get this right here. McElligot's Pool, which is interesting. That sounds very Irish or Scottish, probably Irish, I guess. And he was German. On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Egg Super, The Cat's Quizzer. Did I get that right? I saw it on Mulberry Street. I used to have a mulberry tree in the backyard, you know, the silkworms and the whole thing. I love those things. Those things grow like crazy. Actually, we have one in the front yard, not the backyard. We have one in the front yard. And If I Ran a Zoo, and his father did run a zoo for a time. And this brought me back a little bit because I remember growing up, and of course everybody grew up with Dr. Seuss, right? But I remember I think it was right before I got to high school. It was probably 1990 or so, 91. When he died, and he lived in La Jolla, which is down there in California, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know, I probably sound dumb. I'm like, Dr. Seuss was real? There was really a Dr. Seuss? I remember thinking that, and I was just inquisitive. I hated school. I was bored with school. I hated it. And so when I'd get something like that, that's what I'd spend my time looking at, reading newspapers and whatever. We didn't have smartphones back there, you know. And we still played Oregon Trail. And and I started to look into it. You know, I read the stuff, his obituaries and stuff, and I got interested in them a little bit. And so I learned a little, you know, he's an interesting character. The guy was German. Seuss was the middle name, not Zeus. I think it was Seuss. I probably should look this stuff up. And Geisel, Theodore Geisel. And I remember reading into it a little bit. I mean, this guy, you know, he's old. He's 80-something, 90. I don't know how old he was. And obviously, I looked into this. I'd never heard of these books out here that we're talking about now were obviously early books. And I never heard of any of them. At least at the time, I don't think I've ever heard of any. I remember the Mulberry one and maybe one other. But I don't remember reading those. I wasn't a huge reader, obviously. The later incarnations of Dr. Seuss after the war. So there were, you know, Dr. Seuss, he was German. And so as a history teacher, I love telling these kind of stories to my kids. And this kind of brought it to the forefront. And then, of course, I'll maybe scroll over here while I yap. So the history haters out there can just look at the bolos and be done with it. Maybe I'll stand over here and you can scroll. There are some good ones out there, including the boner one. At any rate, he was German, so there were a lot of... I always ask my kids in AP, you know, why did it take us so long to get into this war? And part of the answer is because of World War I was absolutely awful, horrific war. And so the luster of war, you know, the romanticism of war was done. Nobody wanted to go to war. It was unbelievably bad in World War I. And so that's part of the reason. But there's other reasons. A lot of German folks in America. And politicians look for votes. So, you know, to go to war against, you know, Lindbergh and stuff, you know, they didn't want to go to war. A lot of people sympathetic with the new social Darwinism and ideologies. A lot of people in America were buying into eugenics and all kinds of craziness. And Seuss was a German who was teased as a kid, and he was, you know, as was his sister. I think his dad was like a brewer, which is, I mean, you want to talk about stereotypical, you know, a German brewer coming into the Americas and whatever. And so after World War I, everybody points the fingers at the Germans. You know, it's your fault, it's your fault. That's how Hitler rises to power, by the way. When everybody tells you you're bad, you're terrible, you're awful, and then somebody says, oh, you're great, you're the best race ever, you know, you're like, oh, well, maybe this guy's got something here. And unfortunately, you know, that's human nature. And I think what happens in some of these early books, and I've never even read these books, but obviously there's controversy about them, and resellers are capitalizing on it for sure. I'm not, because I don't have any. Maybe you are, I don't know. But there's a reflection, and you certainly see a different Dr. Seuss. But Dr. Seuss was very critical of Hitler. And he actually he signs up. He's too old to go to war. Well, depends on what you think is too old to go to war. And he does propaganda film for America against the Germans and I think against the Japanese. And at any rate, interesting character. And he ends up coming back to writing children's books. And he was a rebel. I mean, writing kids' books that weren't necessarily meant to teach, these strict lessons and stuff. I mean, you just didn't do that. And he did it for fun. He wrote books. There's a quote. See if I can remember this quote here. He's talking about kids. And he didn't ever have kids. His first wife actually committed suicide. And I think there's a quote, something along these lines. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He says, you can have the kids and I'll entertain them. In other words, I don't think he really wanted to go through the whole trouble of having kids. But 1937 is the first book, I think. 1931, I can't remember my dates here. I think it was definitely before World War One, at least the American part of World War One, or the European part of World War One for that, or excuse me, World War Two. I got you all screwed up. And he writes, I think that Mulberry book, the first one, and then I think his last book was in the 90s, like right before he died. Was that The Places You Go, maybe? I think that was his last book. Oh, The Places You'll Go, or something like that. I always have parents coming in and I sign those books for their kids because they've had a teacher sign it all the way through and their kid never knows it. And then when they graduate high school, they give them the book and they have a signature and a little statement from every single teacher they've ever had. I've had 4 or 5 parents do that over the years. Pretty cool. At any rate, this is not meant to be a political statement about Dr. Seuss or whatever. I really don't have any idea. It's just, I have a hard time looking at history the way other people do because I think human nature all of us, we shouldn't put people on pedestals up here and we shouldn't do the opposite. We're all humans and we're all very flawed in very many ways and in very different ways. At any rate, interesting guy and did a lot for literacy, even for my kids. Turner, to this very day, The Grinch, and that was in the 50s, I think late 50s. The Grinch That Stole Christmas is one of Turner's favorite movies. Not Christmas movies, one of his favorite movies. I'm looking at the clock. Boy, I've been rambling on. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you for listening to me today. And I appreciate you stopping by, as always, and we'll see you next time.